Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Just So Stories by Rudyard Kipling. There are totally 12 short stories in this book, and each story has also a moral lesson. The first story is How the Whale Got His Throat. This is about a hungry whale who eats everything in the ocean, and there's only one small fish left in the ocean, and when it is going to eat that small fish, the small fish, in order to save itself, says that why don't you eat that mariner who is near that ship which is wrecked. So the whale goes there and it swallows the mariner along with his raft. But the man goes inside and he makes so much of ruckus in his stomach that the whale agrees to deliver him back to the land. And when the whale is setting the mariner free, the mariner leaves his raft in the whale's throat. And this he makes it to ensure that the whale can never swallow anything large ever again. How the camel got his hump describes animals like the dog, the ox, and the horse, which are working for the man at the beginning of the world. Now, he also has a camel which is very lazy and it refuses to help anyone now. When anyone goes to the camel and asks it to do any work, it only will say hump as a reply. And there was a jinn which was in charge of the desert. Now it noticed what the camel was doing, and as a punishment, the jinn gave a hump on its back, and this hump will store enough water and food so that it will make the camel work continuously for 3 days without stopping to eat or drink. How the rhinoceros got his skin tells about a rhinoceros who has bad manners, and once it eats a cake that does not belong to him. Now the cake's rightful owner, to take revenge, sprinkles crumbs in the rhinoceros skin, and that causes an itching, and so the rhinoceros keeps on scratching its skin till the skin stretches into large folds, and that is why rhinoceros has skin with large folds. How the leopard got his spots is about a leopard and an Ethiopian man, and they were surprised when their prey vanishes from the usual hunting grounds. There is no animals at all where they usually hunt. So they travel and travel and travel, and then they reach a forest where they find the animals that smell and sound the same as the giraffe and zebra. These are the animals they hunt. But in order to look different, and they wanted to have some stripes and spots, so they want to hide themselves in the forest. So the Ethiopian man changes his skin color to black and uses the leftover color in his fingers to make spots on the leopard to disguise themselves and hunt the animals. The elephant's child tells a story of a curious baby elephant whose family will always be beating him because he'll ask too many questions. One day he wanted to know what the crocodile eats for dinner, and when he asks everyone, no one tells him what it has. So he goes to the crocodile himself and asks, what will you have for your dinner as food? And now the crocodile says, I'm planning to eat the baby elephant for dinner, and catches the elephant's boot-like nose between his jaws. Now the baby elephant, in order to escape, pulls against the crocodile, and his nose stretches and becomes a long trunk. And somehow the baby elephant manages to escape, and he tries to make his nose to shrink back again, but it remains as a long trunk. But now this long trunk is very useful to him because it helps him to swat the flies away, and also to spank his family members when they come to bite him. And soon the other elephants, all seeing this elephant enjoying himself, goes and visit the crocodile to make their own nose also to become like a trunk, and that is how elephants got their trunk. The sing-song of Old Man Gangaru describes how Gangarus used to be like woolly rabbit-like creatures. But there was one Gangaru which was very proud, and he went to God and asked him to make special and sought after. So the God sends a dingo to chase him. The dingo changes the Gangaru all over Australia for hours and hours and hours, that the Gangaru's legs grow strong and big, and he begins to hop, and that is how Gangarus are hopping in Australia. In the beginning of the armadillos, the painted jaguar's mother instructs the painted jaguar on how to eat tortoises and hedgehogs. Now, when he is going, he meets a hedgehog and tortoise in the wild. But he forgets to identify which is a hedgehog and which is a tortoise, because his mother had told that you have to eat them according to which you are catching. So he is confused, and these two animals, that is the hedgehog and the tortoise, they escape from him. But they are worried whether this painted jaguar will catch them the next time. So the hedgehog teaches the tortoise to curl up in a ball so that he can protect himself. And the tortoise teaches the hedgehog how to swim. Now they practice all night and they become very skillful in this. And now no one can recognize who is a tortoise and who is a hedgehog. Now the painted jaguar, next day he comes along with his mother, but now the mother is also confused on which is a hedgehog and which is a tortoise. So they leave the new armadillos alone, and therefore these two creatures escape. How the first letter was written is not about the animal kingdom, but it is about the story of Taffy and her family, who are Neolithic people and the people who live in the caves. One day Taffy is fishing with the father when his spear breaks. At that time a strange man comes there, and Taffy asks him to go to his family's cave, and his father has a replacement spear there. She asks him to bring it. But the stranger man is from a different tribe and is not able to understand what Taffy is saying. And in those days reading and writing was not invented. So Taffy draws the stranger man a picture of the path to the cave. Now looking at the picture, the stranger man thinks that Taffy's pictures is telling him that there is a battle which is going to come, and she wants him to bring many warriors to fight the battle. Now the stranger man takes Taffy's picture to her cave and gives it to her mother. Seeing the picture, Taffy's mother thinks the picture shows the stranger man killing her husband and frightening her daughter. So she immediately calls all the tribal people, and they all plan to execute him. But somehow the stranger man convinces them and brings them back to the river, where they are surprised to find Taffy and her father in good health. And then Taffy and her father, they are also surprised to see the stranger man held captive by the entire tribe, and Taffy explains a misunderstanding. But the chief announces that Taffy has discovered a great invention, and that one day this will be known as letter and it will be used to communicate clearly. And how the alphabet was made is also about Taffy. One day she has an idea to create secret code so that she can leave messages for her father. So she creates a symbol to represent a sound, and soon she and her father realize that they can make symbols for other sounds and also link them to form words, and link those words to form sentences. In The Crab That Played with the Sea, the eldest magician prepares the world at the beginning of the time. So he gives instructions to the animals before sending them on their way. But there is a mischievous crab which sneaks into the sea before the magician notices him. Now after some time the magician sees the man who tells the magician that the earth and all the animals are obedient to him. But the sea rises and falls dramatically every day, and this causes his house to flood and then the breaches to go dry. And the magician, the man and the man's young daughter, they paddle into the sea to find who the culprit is doing all this. And the little girl remembers seeing the crab sneak out, and the magician praises her wisdom and he calls the crab to the surface. Now this crab is a giant and he disrupts the sea every day when he leaves his home deep in the ocean to search for food. The crab feels important when he learns what a disruption he has been causing, but the magician makes his hard shell fall off with a simple magic spell. Now in order to get back his shell, which is a protection for him, the crab agrees to the magician's deal. The crab will stop disrupting the sea, and instead he will be able to make any hole or pebble in the sea or on earth a safe home, and the little girl will give him his very own pair of scissors. However, the crab will continue to lose his shell for 1 month every year to remain humble, and he will remember not to disrupt the sea. The cat that walked by himself tells how animals like the dog, the horse and the cow became domesticated. There was a woman who first tames a man, and she brings him to live in a dry cave and gives him delicious meals and tells him that he has to hunt for her. There is a wild dog which is attracted by the smell of the roasted mutton, so it comes out of the forest, and the woman gives him a bone, and the dog agrees to help the man to hunt in exchange for bones every day. The woman does the same thing to a horse and the cow, and now the horse and the cow also work for her, and the cow also gives her milk and horse works for her. There is a cat which watches all this from the forest, and he has no interest to work for the women, but he wants to enjoy the warm fire and the cow's milk. And so he comes and he talks to the women, thinking that he can outsmart the women. And now they make a deal. The cat can enter the cave if the woman praises him, and if she praises him for the second time, he can sit near the fire, and if she praises him for the third time, he can drink milk every day. And the woman thinks that she will never praise the cat. But soon the cat quietens a crying baby, then it puts a child to sleep with its purring, and it also catches a mouse. So the woman, without realizing, she praises the cat 3 times, and now the cat insists that he will not be domesticated like the other animals, but he will enjoy all the comforts of the house, and also the women must give him milk and allow him to sit by the fire. The butterfly that stamped tells the story of Sulaiman bin Daudat, who is the son of Solomon. He is a wise king and he had 999 wives. And these 999 wives were often bickering him, and therefore his life in the castle was unbearable. And Sulaiman bin Dawud was very powerful, but he was afraid of showing off, and he was also reluctant to use his magic to solve his problems. However, he had a beautiful and wise wife, Balkis, who tricks him into using his magic ring to summon 4 jinns at the request of a butterfly arguing with his wife. There was a butterfly which boasts that he can make Sulaiman bin Daulat's palace disappear with the stamp of his tiny foot. But the butterfly's wife demands proof, and therefore Sulaiman bin Daulat is approached. The butterfly asks him that he has to show his power to his wife, otherwise his wife will not respect him. So Sulaiman bin Daulat, he instructs the jinns to lift the palace high into the sky until it vanishes from view, and then replace it, and this it should do when the butterfly kicks the palace. And he then settles the argument between the butterfly and his wife. And Sulaiman bin Daulat's own wives, they are so frightened by this trick with the palace that they never bicker him again, and he is also very happy. Now this is a short summary of all the 12 stories which are in this book. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you are not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.